Okay, so since EA Play, I've covered a lot of Battlefield 5 topics, discussing different mechanics and highlighting all of the new features as much as I can so that you guys, the people looking forward to this game, can be in the best position to really know what's going on. And if at some point an alpha is announced, we're sort of in that right time frame at the moment, you know what you're going to be walking into. But I haven't really covered the scout class yet and sniping in Battlefield 5, so that's exactly what I'm going to do today. Now, before I get into the meat of this commentary, I want to say a massive thank you to Stodeh, who provided me with some more sniping footage for this video today. Of course, he's a far more adept sniper than I am anyway, so this video is going to look really impressive from a gameplay standpoint. Make sure you check out his channel, it's linked down in the description. Go over there, get yourself subscribed, and I'm sure you can expect some great sniping Battlefield 5 content to come from him in the future. Okay then, I'm going to cover off some of the major changes and rollbacks to the Scout class in Battlefield 5 compared to what we saw in Battlefield 1, and making some links and some comparisons to previous Battlefield games even before that as well. I think we can all agree that the implementation of bolt-action rifles in Battlefield 1 was far from the experience we'd really come to expect from Battlefield titles, and the use of the class increased massively due to people hopping in and taking advantage of some of the rather controversial mechanics that the class had. In Battlefield 5, DICE is really bringing back skill to the Scout class and placing more emphasis on reconnaissance and data gathering than it has done before. First of all then, headline feature, the removal of the sweet spot mechanic. This, in Battlefield 1, allowed players to secure one-shot kills to the upper torso as well as the head at certain distances, making it much easier to kill people in general. That is gone in Battlefield 5. It's back to aiming for the head if you want to take people down with one bullet. That's a really good move from DICE. The sweet spot, I think, was introduced into Battlefield 1 to really give all players an easy route into the class and help them get used to the mechanics of bolt-action rifles, and of course that's calculating for bullet drop and leading your targets. However, until very late on in Battlefield 1's life cycle, the sweet spot was not clearly communicated to the scout or the person the scout was aiming at, meaning it was impossible to tell if you were about to get hit with a one-shot sniper or you were about to deliver a one-shot kill. You could of course use the distance of the flags to work it out, but you'd need to memorize the sweet spots of every single rifle in the game, so arguably the sweet spot introduced a lot of random outcomes into gunfights. With it removed here in Battlefield 5, you get a much more consistent experience. Emphasis is placed back on landing headshots. That requires more skill to accomplish, and therefore you're introducing a more engaging experience at the same time. You need to practice with each rifle, learn how they work, and then use them to their strengths. Next up for the Scout class, bullet velocity. Now, as far as I can work out, this hasn't changed too much from Battlefield 1. It does feel a little bit slower in Battlefield 5, but really, it was very difficult to tell the difference. But in Battlefield 1, that was the game where DICE really ramped up the speed at which bullets fly when they leave the barrel. With the limited time that I had with the game, I'm still unsure if the bullet drag mechanic is present. That's something else that DICE added in Battlefield 1 to slow down the velocity of bullets the further they travel, but I imagine with DICE not changing bullet velocity all that much, that bullet drag is still a thing to consider at longer ranges. Now, from what we were able to work out at the recording event, and obviously not having access to data behind the scenes, it does seem that bullet drop is now more prevalent than what it was in Battlefield 1, which for me is a good thing because it places another element of skill back into the Scout class. Now, if you think back to the Battlefield 4 days, where bullet drop and bullet velocity played a much bigger part in sniper gunfights, landing those arced leading shots, That was extremely satisfying, and that feeling somewhat has returned here with Battlefield 5, although the increased bullet velocity did still mean that leading targets was nowhere near as severe as it was in Battlefield 4. The general feeling seems to be that bullet velocity has been slightly slowed down, bullet drop has been slightly increased, and therefore there's a bigger element of skill when firing sniper rifles in Battlefield 5. That's a big thumbs up from me. A change that affects all players, but I'd argue is extremely important to scouts, is suppression. The mechanic is now visual only. This means that whoever in the gunfight has the better aim is likely to win. No longer do we have some kind of external force affecting our weapon control, and for scouts, that is a huge change. At range, of course, you hold the advantage with a weapon designed for long-range combat, but now at closer ranges, you have a chance to compete in a gunfight if you can react quickly enough. With no extra recoil or spread being applied to your weapon, if you are suppressed, of course, only having to deal with visual effects, then you stand a much better chance of competing or potentially beating that player in that gunfight. The scarcity of ammo in Battlefield 5 is also a big change for the scout class. No longer will you be able to sit on that hill at the back of the map, far away from the action for as long as you could in previous games, because you start with less ammo than you ever have before. You're going to need to move in and collect more ammo from an ammo station or a support player, or even make a habit of collecting ammo from the players that you kill, as they drop little ammo pouches now once you've finished them off. These ammo pouches could actually introduce a brand new scout playstyle actually, almost like confirming your kill by picking up the ammo that's left behind on those dead bodies. It just means in general you're not going to be able to sit far away from the action, you're going to need to integrate a little bit more, and that's encouraging a little bit more of close quarters aggressive playstyle, I'd say. Scope glint for snipers in Battlefield 5 is still present, but it looks as if DICE has kind of tweaked the angles at which it appears, and of course it's still only present when a scout is scoped in with their weapon. It is a good balancing feature to have in Battlefield games because it allows other players to react to a sniper simply aiming at them. Without it, the player would have absolutely no clue and could not have a fair shot at adapting their behaviour. It's very different than an assault player coming across a support player at close quarters. They can easily see each other and start fighting. A scout player could be 100 meters away, behind a bush on a hill, and without that scope glint, those players have absolutely no idea they are being looked at and about to be sniped at. With the scope glint, they have far better visibility, they might not want to run around the corner, or they might want to dive into a house for a quick bit of cover. Now, I spoke earlier about a greater emphasis on headshots in Battlefield 5 in comparison to the previous game. That's a natural move due to the sweet spot being removed, but of course DICE then needs to make it balanced towards making headshots achievable in Battlefield 5. The size of the head hitboxes is being increased back towards the size they were in Battlefield 4, and the damage multiplier of the head hitbox is also being increased from 1.7 to 1.9. This should guarantee one-shot headshots for all rifles in the game anyway, although right now we cannot be 100% sure that's the case because we don't have a full weapon list. Although if a bolt-action rifle didn't one-shot headshot somebody at any range, I would be very, very concerned. Bolt-action rifle accuracy is now going to have much more visibility in Battlefield 5. DICE is introducing a blurring mechanic to the scope crosshairs. If you're moving and scoped in, the crosshairs will blur. That signals to you your weapon will not be as accurate if you were to fire it. Stand still or even hold your breath whilst you're standing still and the lines will go clear, showing you your weapon will be at its highest accuracy point when you fire it. This is a really handy addition for scouts. In previous Battlefield games this system was already there, but again, like the sweet spot, there was no visibility of it. Now you have some idea of whether your rifle is at its fullest accuracy point or whether you need to stand still and wait for those lines to stop blurring. And the assist counts as kill system in Battlefield 5 now starts at 60 damage, not 75, which in my opinion is really not a great move. the minimum damage I was doing with body shots when firing the Kar 98 was 60, which means all I had to do to score kills on the scoreboard was hit enemies in the body and then let somebody else finish them off for me. This creates an inflated KD issue, and I always feel that the scoreboard should really be highlighting more team and squad-based actions. Now, I know an assist is one of those actions, but the assist kill system rewards you with a kill on the scoreboard. I'd prefer it if DICE put that value back up to 75, as it was in Battlefield 1, and that would encourage scouts to go for headshots if they want to get that kill. I totally understand assist counts as kill for automatic weapons, especially when you've done most of the damage, but one shot from a sniper rifle to the chest, let someone else finish them off, and you get assist counts as kill? That doesn't really sit right with me. Those are some of the major mechanic changes coming to the Scout class, but I quickly want to touch upon a couple of the spotting tools that this class holds, because as I said at the beginning of this video, the Scout class is now becoming even more important within the squad mantra, and I'd argue it was the class that needed it most. You now need to collect information that's important to your team. The Scout class has access to Binoculars. These are a gadget, and it's now one of the very few ways to 3D spot players in Battlefield 5. Equip them, look through them, and click the fire button to spot people, and the 3D Dorito will pop up above their head. This is visible to all players on the map for about 7 seconds or so, but if the enemy goes behind cover, the icon completely disappears. This is a really powerful tool to use if you're pushing up on an objective, and makes the Scout class extremely powerful when it comes to visibility. So enemy teams really do need to be paying attention to Scouts in Battlefield 5, 1, because they have really powerful rifles in their hands, and 2, they have one of the best gadgets for visibility in the entire game. And the Scout class also gets access to the flare gun, which spots people moving around on the minimap within its radius. This isn't a 3D spotting tool, this is like 2D spotting, it's only limited to the minimap. This again is a very important tool, and I believe some archetypes of the support class will also get access to this gadget. Now, for me, all of these changes to the Scout class and rollbacks to previous systems show that DICE clearly didn't go in the right direction with Battlefield 1 for sniping, and in Battlefield 5, they're pushing back towards skillful play and thinking about your squad. Personally, I'm extremely happy to see DICE backtrack a little bit after trying something new, and the rewarding feeling of landing kills as a sniper in this game is, for me, much higher than in Battlefield 1. So as it stands right now in pre-alpha, I'm really happy with how the Scout class is looking for this brand new game. But of course, it's not just my opinions that matter here, it is yours as well. Leave your comments down below today, let me know how you feel about the Scout class in Battlefield 5. And whilst you're down there leaving some comments, visit the description and make sure you go and check out Stod's channel. Thanks again, Stod, for letting me use your gameplay today. Make sure you're subscribed to my channel as well, with notifications switched on, so you don't miss any of my future videos, and thank you very much for watching. But until next time, my name is Westie, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.